It's Thursday, February 7. Good afternoon. I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching online at onespotmedia.com. He will be charged. Those words from head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Wayne Cameron, in relation to the bus driver who was shot during an altercation with the police in Spalding on Tuesday. Superintendent Cameron made the disclosure as he defended the actions of the police in the incident, which has gone viral on social media. He also said the cop in question will not be pulled from frontline duties. TVJ's O'Shane Masters has more in this report.
A push on a police officer by this bus driver in Spalding, Clarendon on Tuesday. The driver, who was clearly edged on by the crowd when he pushed the policeman, was being cited for a traffic offense. He came off the worst out of the incident. He was shot 3 times by the police and is now undergoing treatment in hospital. But his woes don't stop there. Head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Wayne Cameron, says the bus driver known as Short Boss will be charged for assaulting the policeman when his medical condition improves. Superintendent Cameron also continues to defend the police's response.
Police officers out here, their primary role is the maintenance of law and order, the protection of people's lives and property. I do not expect anyone to be assaulting my police officers when I deploy them out here. And you must understand, we are here to serve you, but you must understand that the policeman reserved that right to defend himself if he comes under attack. And that is clear.
His team, viewing the video of the incident, which has gone viral, went on a search for persons who damaged a police service vehicle during the brawl which followed the bus driver being shot. They have so far identified one man and went to his workplace but didn't find him. Superintendent Cameron says the search will continue.
At the same time, all of those videos that went out viral, we will be forwarding them to our cybercrime units so that they can be made presentable for evidence in court. This is far from being over because we are going to probe it to the very end.
He also notes that the Manchester Police will be out in their numbers to enforce law and order, with a special focus on taxi drivers who are bent on breaking traffic rules in Spalding.
People here need to show respect for the laws of the land. Taxi operators in this town, I have been here and I have seen taxi operators come down into this town centre, handbrake the car and spun it around in this town centre, head back in the other direction. That seems to be a common feature. And the general disrespect for public order is an issue in Spalding.
O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
And in news just in, the police now have one of the stone throwers who damaged a police vehicle in Spalding in custody. Our news centre spoke with head of the Manchester Police, Superintendent Wayne Cameron, moments ago.
One man that we went looking for last evening, he was handed over this morning by citizens to the police. From what we have gathered, he was one of the men who threw a rock into the police service vehicle, smashing one of the windscreens and seriously damaging the vehicle. They are doing an assessment on the damage to the service vehicle now. This man will be charged, and we may take a little further because the issue of civil litigation will also be considered.
In the meantime, Superintendent Cameron has released the names of persons of interest in relation to murders and robberies in Porus since the start of the year.
There was a murder in 2017 of a youngster down there who has rolled over into disputes leading up to at least another murder in the community there. At the same time, we believe that we have done enough work there, enough canvassing in Porus to understand exactly what is going on, who the main players are, and who we are looking for. The murder of Nicholas Smith, I already put that out, that we are looking for Orrin Anderson, OC Babylon, who can assist us. Well, Babylon is wanted for that murder. In respect to a murder which was committed in Hanbury, we want to speak to a man by the name of Mark Hemmings. We have not been able to find him. He was in Spring Grove Porus. He has left that area for a while. Mark Hemmings is a criminal suspect in that particular murder. So we want to speak to him on that.
Superintendent Cameron links the murders to lottery scamming. A woman is in police custody in connection with the fatal stabbing of her common-law husband in Southfield, St. Elizabeth yesterday. The deceased has been identified as 24-year-old Romario Banks of Parchment Lane in Southfield. It's reported that the couple was involved in a dispute about midday when a knife was used to stab Mr. Banks. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips led a team to Portland yesterday to sign condolence book opened to pay tribute to the late Dr. Linville Bloomfield. This follows the murder of Dr. Bloomfield at his Paisley Gardens Portland home on Saturday.
That kind of savagery and brutality is not typical of the people of Portland. The kind of Christian service that Dr. Bloomfield exemplified and represented. That what I would hope for is that the people of Portland would draw close to those Christian values that he represented and not give any space to this wave of brutality and violence that was manifest in the tragedy that cost him his life.
Some members of the public who signed the book openly shed tears.
There is a great sense of grief and of loss among the people in Port Antonio and among the comrades in the People's National Party and the general citizenry. There has been a great turnout from citizens generally to sign the condolence book and to express their sorrow and their grief.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, says it has started the first phase of preliminary work to repair the Papine Market. Chief Executive Officer of the KSAMC, Robert Hill, says electrical repairs are being done. He says as the work progresses, vendors will be displaced temporarily.
There are some areas of the substructure that have to be dealt with that was compromised during the fire. So we have to deal with the roofing frame before. And so we're going to be finding space and allowances for the vendors to continue to do their business. But it shouldn't be too much of a displacement for them, as not everybody that's going to be displaced.
One other issue is the roofing of the market.
The roofing is going to take a little while because there is a considerable amount of procurement that has to be done before that is completed.
In the meantime, Mr. Hill says he's aware of commercial garbage being dumped in an area reserved for market waste. He says measures will be put in place to protect the garbage site.
We are now looking to ensure that we properly regulate that area, that it is gated, monitored, and regular collections are taking place.
Now, these images tell the tale of what could have been a devastating end for 4 residents of Hart Street in downtown Montego Bay last night. Information reaching TVJ News is that the persons were at home when their house caught fire minutes after 11. It's unclear how the fire started, but the individuals are thankful despite the losses. One neighbor recounted the experience.
I was in my bed sleeping and I hear somebody knocking on my door. Fire, fire, wake up Lloyd, wake up Lloyd. So I wake up and I see the fire and I run out. And go back down there, then I see a lot of soldiers and police coming up in the yard. And then they call the fire department.
A meat shop, which was part of the structure, was also damaged. The Justice Minister has charged justices of the peace that as part of their mandate to work with the police, they must be prepared to report persons who help create traffic chaos across the island. Addressing 141 newly commissioned JPs in Portmore St. Catherine on Wednesday, Delroy Chuck singled out drivers of public passenger vehicles whom he laments the government has allowed to get away with traffic offences for far too long.
Many of these persons with licenses who have more than 10 tickets, they should be suspended and be conductors rather than drivers or be loaders.
Meanwhile, as he urges justices of the peace to get further training in mediation to help reduce case backlog in the courts, he stressed that a reduction of public order is a critical part of Jamaica's economic growth.
300,000 to 400,000 more jobs. But these are not going to come unless we have investment, unless business can expand, unless people can go about their business without interference and interruption from wrongdoers across the country. And that is why the World Bank has said if we could reduce crime to moderate level, we could have economic growth way in excess of 5%.
Bob Marley's 74th birthday was yesterday, but the celebrations continue for many. This afternoon, we pause to recognize the man, the mission, and the music. Reggae, one of the many musical genres Jamaica has given to the world. And for decades, Bob Marley has been the face and voice of the music.
I think Marley is a perfect example of what is possible when all the factors come together in the right time.
For cultural analyst Clyde McKenzie, these factors include exceptional musical talent, proper marketing, and putting in the legwork in uncharted markets. Director at the Institute of Caribbean Studies, Reggae Studies Unit, Dr. Sonja Nair, agrees.
The groundwork that would have gone into establishing Marley as a formidable reggae act out of Jamaica is a lot of guerrilla touring, a lot of professional, strategic input into his career development. So Chris Blackwell was there, and the branding that would have been infused into the product of a Bob Marley prior to Bob Marley as a solo act, of course, Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Marley has an appeal to generations to come because we will always harbor images of him as a youth, somebody who is fresh and alive. In other words, we never had the opportunity of seeing old Marley.
There are subtle ways in which Marley is impacting as well as in huge, massive, tangible ways. There are, of course, the lineage, Marley's lineage, his sons, they are very much holding that mantle for reggae. But Marley, if he were here today, would be quite proud.
However, with over 300 reggae shows across the world each year, many believe more needs to be done to ensure Jamaica and future Jamaican reggae artists benefit from the continued growth.
Jamaica is a festival destination, can be an important venue, an entertainment destination for reggae, and we need to improve on those events that we offer.
I think his music will always, and Bob Marley himself will always be influential as long as civilization exists, you know, because he is a seminal contributor. And what you see is his children, in their own way, they are continuing.
Herman Green, TV. We go on to sporting news as TVJ News sports sources have revealed that Saturday's annual general meeting of Table Tennis Jamaica is expected to go ahead as planned despite the request for an injunction by 12 clubs and affiliates. On Wednesday, TVJ Sports obtained a letter dated February 4 in which the clubs, through their attorney, wrote to Table Tennis Jamaica President Godfrey Lothan requesting the postponement of the AGM, citing serious concerns regarding the conduct and procedure utilized to achieve the amendments to the Constitution on January 28. There was, however, no response to the letter from the TTJ president. However, sources close to TVJ Sports say that the AGM will be held on Saturday as the clubs did not have enough grounds to have it postponed. We also understand that the clubs are willing to stage a protest at the AGM if it is allowed to go ahead this Saturday. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Please join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the news, sports, and production teams, good afternoon.